So you're here for 1 month. You're gonna go check out different parts of the country. You've seen.
Well, we should talk about how we actually got to know each other.
Yeah, because like there's certain people in my life, like I don't know how I met that person. It's too many years ago.
Yeah.
It's not like they introduce themselves and show up at your door, Well, they do, I guess, at some point, but.
Yeah.
So yeah, you had reached out to me because again, am I not crazy? Like, you're like, I like the way you think, man. I'm like, I like the way you think. You think like I do. I like it.
Yeah.
We can be good friends.
So what happened as soon as Bukele made the announcement that Bitcoin would be legal tender about a year ago, I was tracking. I mean, I spend every day, like educating myself through the real Bitcoiners. And then I got really interested, but I knew nobody here. I've traveled to 60 countries in my life, lived in 10, but I'm single and just got Bella, and I just found it just so difficult to relate to people in the Western world, because for the most part, they're brainwashed, or they're just willing to comply so they can get their life back, right?
And I think they're taking opium as well, like television, movies, just enough to like keep their
the hopium, right?
I don't even notice it. That was my search. Like, do you notice something's wrong? Like, no. What are you talking about? Like, like, okay, I'll stop.
So like we felt like Neo in the movie The Matrix, and I just felt like I was getting more and more isolated, and it was just so difficult. I've lived the last 21 years in Florida, and for the last 7 years, in the Miami area, and they've employed the deep state, the imperialistic global powers.
Yeah, and they're better than say California, even but still.
When I'm not saying Florida, I think Florida is the freest state in the nation, thanks to DeSantis, right?
Texas and Florida and Tennessee seem to have this they're trying to elucidate this, these states that are free-ish at least.
Yeah.
Federal government's always going to be there, but that's not going away.
And so, where was I with this? Was that I just found it really hard to find people I could relate to. There's not many baby boomers age 63 that are like full-on Bitcoiners. So most of my journey in Bitcoin has been a solitary one, educating myself, and the more I went down the rabbit holes, the various rabbit holes, the more I was just like yearning for deep conversations. So
we talked about loneliness. When you take the journey, no journey is easy.
Right.
It's hard.
It's hard.
You go on a journey, you get on a boat. For me, and this is my mental picture. Your friends are getting further away on the shores, and for me, it's like you feel like you're in a boat by yourself in the middle of the night, looking at the stars.
Right.
And it could be a long time, years sometimes, before you meet someone like a Jeffrey or someone who has, hey, I identify with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Your ideas. I'm with you, man.
So the deep state, like you've got the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab and Odarvi. I think I hope I pronounced his name right. But the divide and conquer, they play that game with excellence. So in the Western world, people are so divided, so suspicious of each other.
COVID helped that along.
And the whole ridiculous pandemic. I'm not saying that the virus wasn't affecting people's health and killing people and whatnot, but the face diaper wearing and all this BS that people just started to be afraid of themselves.
It reminds me of the AIDS, like growing up in the 80s, like the AIDS epidemic. We still have those toilet paper, not toilet paper, toilet gaskets, you can protect your butt, because back then you can get AIDS from a toilet seat, and it never went away.
Right.
So the masks were never going away in these certain contexts,
Yeah, so I was just really on this search for like-minded people, and so that's another reason is there's more and more Bitcoiners here, and I can't wait to meet them.
El Tunco seems to be the brain center, and there's probably more, but that's one.
So the more totalitarian the West has gone, and I'm being Canadian and watching what that disgrace of a leader and that World Economic Forum.
You're going to freeze your bank account after this interview, you know that,
right? And I just felt like I was being hunted. We're being hunted in the West. Our freedoms are being taken away. And I started watching all of the YouTubers, David De La Silva, I think is his name, Francesco, Money Delix, and then your channel. And when I started listening to you, I said, man, I'm really
glad you reached out. Yeah.
You know, like identifying with him. So I sent a message on one of his YouTube. I commented, and it was like a little message in the bottom. I was hoping he would respond.
You've gotten plenty, and most people don't follow through. You're like, okay, good chess, okay, you move, I'll move,
right.
And now you're here.
So I just said, I'd love to connect with you, and I guess you clicked on my description on my YouTube.
Yeah, like, is this guy crazy? Who's this? Like, okay, he's not good.
And what was it that made you feel like you could identify me? Was it some books, right?
Oh, the books, yeah. They Can Grow Rich, and yeah, we're on the same page. We're seeing similar visions of,
Yeah. So
very intuitive people who, follow what we're told.
So Chris reached back and said, yeah, hey, let's talk. And so I got here on Sunday, October 9, and 5 days ago, but we've been talking for about 2 or 3 weeks, right?
Every day, pretty much. Yeah.
And
I needed English. I didn't give me someone who's smart. I need to call this guy up.
And we just found both what we've been looking for is just, especially for guys, another male that you can just run the gamut of topics, the psychological, the financial, the emotional, the
most people go
spiritual.
that deep, though. They back off, like, I'm feeling weird now, I'm uncomfortable. Okay.
So then, anyway, that's kind of an introduction, and where do you want to go from here?
So, wrapping up. Extrapolating, let's say, more on Bitcoin. I knew about Bitcoin when it was $10 per coin. Surgeon was talking about it, and I thought, this guy's an idiot. Fake money. Like, Wells Fargo has a shoebox full of my money, with my name on it? I don't think so. It's just digits and codes, kind of like Bitcoin.
What year was that? It must have been like
12 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe longer. I don't know.
2014, 13.
Something like that. Yeah. I thought this guy was a moron. I made fun of him to at least 8 or 9 people, This guy's talking about fake money.
Yeah.
God, can you imagine if I had $100 back then? Sure. I did have $100 back then.
Yeah.
I wasted it on dumber things. But anyway, so going back to irresponsibly long on Bitcoin.
What does it mean?
What does it mean? And what if it doesn't go up? What if it does go up? It can only go 3 directions, right? Down, same, or up.
So, yeah, it's being irresponsibly long or all in Bitcoin. What it means to me is, I've put most of my wealth into it. That's how much faith and confidence I have. And why would I do that is because I take the World Economics Forum Great Reset agenda seriously. And that's all about is confiscation. And the only asset that is not confiscatable is Bitcoin. It's the only one of the digital assets that is, really decentralized and is the honey badger. So, I see that Bitcoin, like Michael Saylor says, it's the most important technology innovation of our generation.
Don't know these names, go look up Michael Saylor. Go look up
Saylor.
They Can Grow Rich. Any of these words that we're using.
CEO of MicroStrategy. And I started listening to him 2 years ago, and he taught me a lot. So if a person cannot defend their property rights, as Robert Breedlove says, it's really one of the most important rights is your property rights. And as we have seen, like what happened in Canada with anybody who supported
the Russians right now, they're losing. I call them oligarchs. I'm not sure how you define oligarch, but they're taking their property.
Yeah, I mean, like going back to Canada when there was a completely peaceful, legal demonstration by the
$10
truckers.
for a trucker protest, and they lock your entire account.
That completely unqualified leader who is really sold out to the World Economic Forum imposed the War Measures Act. on a peaceful demonstration and literally suspended civil rights, incarcerated people without due process.
An emergency, like you had like Katrina style,
and froze bank accounts,
right?
And froze bank accounts.
Yeah.
And with this whole Ukraine-Russia thing, the existing monetary system, which is the biggest Ponzi scheme, legalized counterfeiting deal in the world. Well, when they wanted to deplatform Russia, I think they had like about $600 billion worth of savings in foreign currencies, US dollar, euro.
Why are they so pissed off? Strange.
And just by one decision, these countries
out of the
just
START system, you can't trade in money. So they're going to gold and other things like.
Well, they just decided, guess what? You're not going to be able to use our Swiss system and completely deplatform. So that's a form of confiscation.
Yeah, it is. I would say the definition of.
And just the things that are happening in the Western world. It's clear, it's present, danger, it's ominous, and that's why I've been looking for a place to get out of the way of the beast until the rapture, which is part of the Bible prophecy.
Neither one of us are it's a blessing to be born. Like I said, it's a geographic lottery we won by being born in Canada or US. It has its upside too.
Sure.
It's beautiful and it's safe for the most part, unless you're in a big city or
Well, it's just like,
less and less so every day. But
yeah,
we're not giving up passports here. We're just enjoying El Salvador. Yeah. And we talk about that too. When the curtain falls, then you can't go to El Salvador anymore. So which side of the curtain you want to be on?
Yeah, and this is it. It's like when the Iron Curtain falls, it's like that quick. I mean, with
East Germany, they woke up to a wall. Like, I guess that's over with.
Yeah, and with the pandemic, Australia, the Australian government basically decided, hey, if you're Australian, you cannot leave the country. If you're Australian, you're out of the country. You cannot come back.
Business trips. I'm just doing business. Nope, sorry, come back.
And Canada, up until recently, nobody that wasn't jabbed could leave. So when the Iron Curtain falls, it does it rapidly.
Kiyosaki talks about that, right? I mean, rich dad, poor dad.
Yeah.
Like, where can you go in 72 hours?
Right.
You got something set up.
So for me, I actually feel late in coming here.
Late to the early game.
Late to the early game.
Yeah.
Right. So I just want to position myself and live in peace, and I think El Salvador is that place. So being irresponsibly long, there was lots of reasons. I believe Bitcoin is a binary. At the final outcome, it will be binary. It'll go to zero or it'll go to dollar parity. So each Satoshi, the 100 million Satoshis that make up a dollar, a full Bitcoin will be worth $1. So that's $100 million Bitcoin. And it doesn't even need to go, I think it's going to become the reserve.
Well, we talked about three directions.
Currency,
So let's say it goes down to 3,000. What's your plan then? Stay here and try to find...
I keep stacking. I keep stacking.
Well, supposedly 3 Bitcoins buys you citizenship.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Locked it in yet.
I can't wait till Bukele, makes that, pens it into law, and Bitcoin City. It's very cool.
Obviously, it goes to $100,000 while you're sitting pretty.
Yeah. So I had enough research to realize this was the best asymmetric investment. We say, it could go to zero, but do any of us that have been in it and really researched think that's going to happen? No, I don't think that's going to happen. So
Bed Bath & Beyond's still worth something. So even garbage stocks are worth something. Unless it's completely gone.
The upside to Bitcoin is actually without limit because these nation states' ability to create their fraudulent fiat currencies is without limit. And so I think Bitcoin is going to continue to go up forever in fiat terms. And
eventually it's all gone, right? It's all bought up. There's only a finite amount.
Well, the price will keep going up.
Okay.
And the downside is zero. So I'm confident enough to have put most of my net worth overwhelmingly into it. And I'm 7 years into this and I haven't made any money.
A beautiful van, but
yeah.
Again,
so I sold
my conviction. You've sold your condo.
I sold my condo in Miami, a beautiful condo, waterfront condo. And I did that in early 2020 after the current administration, if you can call it that, basically were coercing everybody to get jabbed or you don't get to work. That was just completely unethical and ridiculous, and all the censoring that was going on. I said, I'm out of here. So I actually went to Portugal.
Oh, okay, yeah. You have lived in many countries. Yeah.
And
so it's not like you're educated on so many things, but you've lived
in 10 countries.
Yeah. So, and Costa Rica was one. I just got back. It's a beautiful country.
Yeah, but it,
didn't have the right tone for you. Whatever, didn't strike the right.
At this point in world history, we're all going to be under some form of government. And so, what is the least malignant governor in the world? I think it's here in El Salvador. I think Bukele really is a guy that really wants to make a difference for El Salvadorians, and so he's attracting foreign investment to be able to create jobs for the people here. So I'm really happy with that. So I sold my condo in Miami. I went to Portugal with the idea of relocating there, but it being part of the EU, I don't trust the EU. It's part of these big supernation deals. And by the way, I think that Canada, US, and Mexico is at risk of collapsing into one entity. I considered Mexico, but no nation state has somebody like Bukele.
You talked about, this is getting pretty deep, but different zones where Russia's already, collecting countries, and perhaps, United States, Mexico, Canada could be North America, zone.
Yeah, well, I just watched a podcast by Nico at Simply Bitcoin YouTube channel with Tone Bays. I think it was just published today about the geopolitical macro picture, and I learned a lot from that. But yeah, it's a cat and mouse game. The cat is this global cabal. They have very, very evil plans, malignant plans for humanity. And us plebs, us humans, we're the mice. We just want to be left alone. And they don't want to leave us alone. They want to
they could have a spaceship, we can go somewhere else, but we don't. So this little tiny rock, and they're chasing us down. You can go to Antarctica, I guess, but you better have a...
So I sold my condo. And when I decided against Portugal, I went in and bought so I'm doing van life.
It's a whole new experience.
Which is a whole new experience, and I've, basically digitized.
Easy either. They don't want you doing that.
Right. So I'm doing van life with Bella. As I was researching, where can I go to be a sovereign individual, to maintain my personal autonomy and my property rights, and here I am in a third world country. And one of the things I just absolutely love about it is that I've made more friends here in 5 days than I could in the U.S. And the people here are just so genuinely friendly now that Bukele has basically said, "Hey, the gangs are over. They're done. There's those that haven't been arrested. They're running for cover." And so there's these people that have, for generations and decades, been exploited. They're so innocent and welcoming to foreigners. So,
money is obviously, resources, money are precious here. The other day, I saw this lady bring out paper towels, which you don't see a lot of paper towels in this country. They were luxury.
It's a luxury, right?
She's wrapping Bella in this paper towels.
So
giving her, hard-earned money to keep this dog warm and dry.
So we're walking Monday
after a hurricane, whatever.
It dumped 1 to 2 feet of water in El Salvador, and there was flooding even in La Libertad. But it was coming in bands, so it would be pouring rain and then it would stop.
Trees, 90 degrees,
And so we decided to go for a walk. And
it took us an hour and a half to go to...
We got caught in the rain.
Mile, not even that.
And little Bella here, little dogs get hypothermic really, really easy. And she was shaking, and we were under the cover of a little tienda, little store. And the owner of the store, Sarah, just came out and she took these paper towels, which are a luxury here, and just offered to wrap them around Bella, and then a
look in
plastic
her
bag.
eyes. She was looking at the dog.
It was
I got to take
genuine.
care of this little animal, you know. Like, yeah.
There's humanity, there's
Yeah,
dignity,
it's
there's
missing
respect,
in America, in Western.
there's generosity.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a 52-year-old white man. I feel like people are looking right through me like I'm a ghost.
Yeah,
So if you're a marginalized class, you'll walk over you to get the next latte. They don't care.
right.
You know,
A lot of people,
lost their humanity.
a lot of people in the Western world have from the programming of mainstream media and the alternative media, that the technocrats they're weaponized. They're weaponized, they're virtue signaling, they're shaming and the whole bit.
Yeah.
And I just believe in choice. Like if somebody wants to put something in their body, hey, as long as it doesn't hurt me.
That's always been my saying. If you're with me, man, you can have half my food and the shirt off my back, man. If you're cool, you're part of my tribe. You're part of my tribe. I take care of you.
So Chris, after we started to communicate, as we talked, we realized that we really enjoyed talking on these different levels, and I've been looking for a male friendship for for so long.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Come on down." He invited me down here, and I
even said, like, is that too much? Should I have said that? But now I'm so happy. Actually.
Yeah. So I pulled the trigger and bought a ticket and put my van in a friend's place, and Bella and I flew down here.
Which is you can go. Emotional support animals are not a regular thing here. There's street dogs, there's lap dogs, and there's guard dogs.
Yeah.
Nobody brings one into a grocery store, and that was the whole thing. But you know.
Yeah. And anyway, I just feel, I wrote a post on my Facebook yesterday that here it's definitely a third world country, but there's something so special about the people and about its leader, Bukele, and I felt for the first time free. Like I'm in a place where there's liberty, there's peace, there's hope.
Yeah, hope
and I don't feel like that I'm, for the moment that I'm here, that there's those imperialistic superpowers that are, going to choke what little civil rights that they're still offering. I mean, it's chaos in these first world countries, and I just want to get away from that.
Well, in stock terms, like imagine buying Amazon for $5. Well, imagine buying Amazon for $5. That would be El Salvador. Or you can buy Amazon now. It'll go up a little bit, but it's this stock is going to be exponentially rising for years, I think. As long as Bukele is in power, and affected by.
Hopefully he will get reelected, so we'll have 7 more or 6 or 7 more years.
5 more years.
It's a 5-year term. And
he just announced that while we were here.
Yeah. So I think it's 6 or 7 years of him. And when there's peace, because I've lived in 10 countries, been to 60, and spent a lot of time in Central and South America, but never been to El Salvador. And when there's that kind of peace and a sufficient amount of order of law, then it creates the environment for advancement and prosperity. And El Salvador should, just go on to modernize and to clean up and to become very, very pretty. But at this point,
we're seeing more and more. Well, going to Tamanique, which we buy property there, but you look at certain indicators like single females jogging with headphones on. Like, okay, that's not important. Like, no, it is, because that means she's educated. It means she has all her safety. She's not a fear of her safety,
right?
And she's a female. She's vulnerable,
Yeah.
But she's out there jogging away. I saw 2 or 3 of them. So okay, this place is good.
It's in such a radical positive transformation, and of course the foreign superpowers that hate Bitcoin because it exposes their fraud of their fiat monetary system. They're the only ones that have anything bad to say about Bukele and about El Salvador. They're creating that FUD. That's the only thing
I see is not what I see here.
Right.
Sure. Does it match? No.
Not at all, right? It's like they're creating the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And, just like Bitcoin, you've got to have an open mind and like wade through all of this. That's the only thing you can do is create FUD to keep people away from Bitcoin, to keep people away from being sovereign, fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Okay, cool.
To keep people away from sovereignty and you know, the sound money that Bitcoin is.
Yeah.
That will allow you know, fiat monetizes violence and war on a macro and micro level, and Bitcoin it's the opposite. It's about peace. It's about freedom and prosperity. So
I mean, the unbanked, I'm not sure the percentage, but it's pretty high globally.
Yeah, like a massive amount of people are unbanked.
Mm-hmm.
So
so it's not just an investment. It's a way to, well, on the street, right? You can pay with Bitcoin. You can buy whatever you want, a cup of coffee. You know, it's everywhere. It's, you know.
Yeah. So it's
It's literally legal tender.
It's legal tender here, and you know, I can't wait for the next bull run when the foreign imperialists can't like say to the Kelly, I told you so. Bitcoin is a disaster. No, he's smart.
$101,000. Like, oh, hey, there it goes.
All of a sudden, when it goes parabolic again, then more and more nation states will begin to adopt it, and
and they have like 300 Bitcoin now, I imagine by now. You know?
I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, it was like 200 and something. But powering it by volcano, I think. Well, that was the plan. I'm not sure that's the actual.
Yeah, they're gonna use the geothermal energy from the various volcanoes. So during this trip, I'm going to stay until November 10th, and I hope to meet all the other Bitcoiners down here and create that community.
I hope you have a reason to either not leave or return quickly. Like, I gotta take care of this. I follow up on this plan. You know?
I literally came as a reconnaissance mission. I'm obviously been in the market for a country that would treat me better, and I think I'm pretty sure I found it here. So I just want to make friends. I know that. You know, the Bitcoiners and I are going to have a lot in common. We'll be like-minded. But I'm going to meet Francesco Many Delix, and he's going to, I think, introduce me to David de la Silva.
It is word of mouth here. Like, you know, can you send me something? Like, I don't know if I can send it to you. Can you probably talk to somebody? And sure enough, like you're vegan. I think maybe
Francesco might be too.
Probably is, or at least vegetarian. But like, can we grow food there? Like, I know William, the caretaker, like he has a plot of land. I go talk to him. Oh yeah, sure, you can rent it from me, or whatever, $20 a month to get $100 worth of food. You know. Yeah. So self-sufficiency.
Helping
each other out.
And health is, you know, it's a really, really important thing to me. And
well, you can grow your own food. You know it doesn't harm the plants. You know, and you control it, like cooking. We don't go to restaurants. We haven't been to one, have we?
No. You know, because unfortunately, there's nothing in the restaurants that would compete with the food that I've learned to cook over the last 4 years, right?
and relationships bond around food, I think.
So I'm here at Roma del Mar. Chris invited me.
Roma del Mar.
The Rancho as a guest. And then I bought a ticket with 1 month return date, and then I decided I was going to stay here. So I'll use this as the base, and we got a win-win situation where I think you leave on Friday, and you said, you know, you're my guest until Friday, and I'm gladly like saying, okay, let me rent it for
a 10-person giant rancho for one person.
Right, 10-person ranch for Bella and myself.
But I hope you don't leave. I hope you return to get your stuff or something. I feel like there's something in your future you're gonna find. You know, a video game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It keeps you here or brings you back.
All I got left back in the U.S. is my van. I've got another car to sell, and I've got 100 square foot amount of locker space. So I've been preparing myself.
You figure out how to get Bella here, so you can probably get the van here too.
I mean, I've never seen any Ram Pro Masters here, so
that's true. But
getting
a Harley
parts.
Shop. I mean, we haven't looked that deeply. There is an expat community, and maybe one that has that.
So I'm going to check out the different neighborhoods and even go over to the volcano where Bitcoin City's planned for, and the second phase of Surf City or
the Surf City 2 coming up.
La Union.
I think. That's the idea.
Yeah. So any of the other Bitcoiners here, I'd just love to connect with you guys and reach out through
Well, maybe you
Chris.
could give them your contact, Jeffrey Lee.
Yeah, my WhatsApp is it's US number, so 1-941-586-0089. That's 1-941-586-0089. It's Jeffrey Lee. Reach out. I'd just love
Jeffrey Lee
to.
at Facebook as well, right? So that's
On Facebook, it's I'm on Facebook as well.
I mean,
I think on Twitter I'm Jeffrey W. Lee, JEFFREYWLEE.
And I found too, like I was thinking, like, oh, maybe when you see it all in front of you, like what's gonna happen the next 2 or 3 years. But sometimes it's the first step, and then you see the second, and the second step. Sometimes you need 3, 4, 5. But
Yeah, you have to have
it's
vision.
never, vision. Sometimes vision just gets you the first step.
Well, I mean, like, when did you buy this place? 5 years ago?
5 years ago, yeah.
And
Did I know what I was doing? No.
I
not
just
really.
I'm
I learned a
blown
lot.
away by that because 5 years ago it was still a very corrupt government.
I didn't even know there was trouble here in 2016. We came in 2017, so God takes care.
Yeah.
So a year later, no one's knocked on my door asking for money or extortion.
It was still completely controlled by the gangs, and you had the vision to come in here, and you came here just so that you could financially get ahead where it was impossible to get ahead in the U.S.
There was a surgeon was saying like he had been divorce raped or whatever. Like it's a trap and we're not meant to get out. Like there's no way out. Like I gotta find a way out.
Yeah.
So this is my escape pod.
Yeah.
Got out.
And little did you know that you would see all this crazy stuff happen, Great Reset type of stuff that is about to, completely control the world.
You can't see it, so it's like, really, you're gonna know that? There's a wolf at the door. You're gonna walk outside,
right? Or you're gonna do something about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think a lot of people, myself including, to be in the States and to see everything. Well, it's starting to get decrepit. In many, many places. And if you have a ton of money and you're in a gated community, you're in a bubble. But for the most part, the violence that's happening there, the decay from a human level and from the infrastructure, it's gone in the wrong direction for sure.
The social fabric is intact And people say, oh, it's so violent in El Salvador. Like, okay, if you go to the wrong area, like if you go looking for trouble, you're going to find it, but no one's going to shoot you up in your church, your school, or your grocery store here.
Here we have unity, like the government is unified, the people are unified, they're happy to have peace, they can relax. In the Western world, there's absolute division.
Throw away people, they're just garbage, but they're not garbage. They can find a gun, they can find a car and drive through a crowd.
Right.
There's people who are broken, and if you tell someone you're worth nothing, you have no value. Oh, good. Okay, well, fine. Watch me. I'll make some value. It could be negative, That's a little dark there, but it is positive here. You don't find, never had a problem here, ever.
Yeah, I feel completely safe here.
I saw a guy scream out of a car window. He was pissed off at somebody. That's the only act of violence I've seen.
Yeah.
And I go back home, and there's, guys, hey, man, I need some gas money. And there's two of them, like, here, just take $5, go away.
Oh, man, it's like you take your life in your own hands getting gas in many parts of the U.S.
Yeah.
You really do. And
I'll say the wrong word, the wrong idea. You believe in that? Well, I'm going to beat the hell out of you.
Right.
Okay. So, this is a haven. You can always find danger, but it's a safe haven if you just got a few dollars to rub together.
It's a beacon of hope in a world that is just getting darker and darker and darker.
Exactly.
My number one conviction is what we are seeing is the fulfillment of Bible prophecy. So those who choose to believe that Christ died for our sins, was buried, and rose again on the third day, we're going to get raptured before this 7-year period that the book of Revelation focuses on.
This is the trailer. This isn't the movie yet. This is not quite there yet, but this is the...
We're rapidly heading to that, and the rapture is the thing you never want to miss, is that, we get rescued and don't have to get left behind for that 7-year period, because that's when the mark of the beast and the false Christ, the Antichrist, and the false prophet show up.
Spelled out that clearly. Here's the mark of the beast.
Yeah, of course they're not going to say that. They're not going to, hey, I'm the Antichrist, false prophet.
Yeah.
But people are just going to line up for it, just like they lined up for the jab with their fake science, right?
Yeah.
With that.
You can't talk about science. I'm a man of science. I have a degree in molecular, cellular, and developmental biology. So I would say I'm a man of science.
Right.
Science should be always picked apart, argued.
Yeah.
And something, no, don't argue about this. Like,
right, because there was this guy that said, I am science, right?
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, so that's not science.
And they just let it happen.
Can't point at something, you can't say the emperor has no clue. Oh, we'll put you away.
On an absolute global basis, they let this brainwashing thing happen, and no, not down with it at all.
No. All right, anything else you want to say before we go?
Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm
happy I met a great new friend, a brother.
Yep.
And I think I'm really already like from a heart level thinking, okay, this is going to be home. So I'll go back and arrange my affairs and
like the rancho, like we've made a lot of changes in a month, and it's like we haven't done anything. Like, well, no, because it's so incremental, and you've been here 5 days, and it's incremental. But when you look back, maybe it's better you go home for a little bit, a few days, and like, oh wow, that accomplished a lot.
Yeah, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So you had the vision, you got out of your comfort zone. That's what I'm doing here. And one thing that I love to do is ballroom dance, salsa dance, and I'll miss that. South Florida.
You were discussing the first Chinese guy.
I think I'm the only Chinese guy here too.
So
right?
Give me the first ballroom dancer. Give me history books.
I'm like a unicorn.
It could be a thing in 20 years.
I'm a unicorn on so many levels, right?
Exactly. So
I actually have a T-shirt that's off-duty unicorn.
You have one?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'll wear it the next time we're on.
So 2 pioneers right here. See how it goes.
Just 2 little innocent mice that are just trying to get away from that evil, malignant cat, right? We talked about this since we were in our 20s. We felt something was off. I've always said, like, I'm just a rat hiding, going from hole to hole under a board. Like, leave me alone. It's like leave me alone. And now I'm in the mountains at 9,000 feet. Yeah.
And they're still finding me. So, All right, we'll leave it at that, and then we'll be back at some point.
Be happy to do it.
Yeah, brother.